Minasan konnichiwa und willkommen, and welcome to another editorial. In today's editorial, we're going to be talking about the differences between full frame and widescreen, also known as Panavision and CinemaScope. The whole movie industry started in around the late 1890s, 1894 to be exact, 1 year after Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky died, due to chloruria, or some people would suspect it was suicide. But I'll talk about Tchaikovsky in a different video. Right now I want to talk about the film industry as a whole in the different formats. The film industry started in 1894 with a shit ton of short movies, running from like a few seconds to like a few minutes. Then by the 1910s, most silent movies at that time were only 15 minutes, which was the length to an old soap opera at the time. You know, like Guiding Light, which I'll talk about in a different video. Where was I? Oh, yes. From 1894 to 1953, everything was in full frame. But when CinemaScope came into the picture, everybody went gaga over it. And before I even get further into the formats, I want to talk about some of the film technology, because I believe it was Mr. Edison that perfected technology, while Benjamin Franklin discovered it while he was flying a kite with a key attached to it during a thunderstorm. In fact, many great classics from the 50s to the 90s were filmed in CinemaScope, like How to Marry a Millionaire, The Robe, Lady and the Tramp, The Last of the Mohicans from Fox, not the one from Hanna-Barbera. In fact, 25 of the 114 Tom and Jerry cartoons from William Hanna and Joseph Barbera were filmed in CinemaScope, with 4 of them being simultaneously filmed in both CinemaScope and standard Academy ratio, which of course is full frame. While the remaining 21 are CinemaScope only. When around 1962 or so, when widescreen movies were being shown on television for the first time, they couldn't fit the widescreen process on a normal television set. So what they've done was a process called pan and scan, where they chop off the sides, which of course is bullshit. I mean, who the fuck does that kind of shit anyway? I'll tell you how, it's those fucking corporate networks like CBS and NBC. Anyway, back to the editorial. Around the late 1980s or so, widescreen movies became the norm on Laserdisc. Widescreen wouldn't be available on VHS until much later. And the first widescreen film I ever saw as a kid was The Last of the Mohicans. You know, the one with Daniel Day-Lewis? Which, of course, is a classic, because it came out in 1992. I was only 3 years old at the time. And it was the first widescreen feature I ever saw from start to finish, which was actually widescreen, or CinemaScope. And then I saw Ratatouille being the first CinemaScope film since The Last of the Mohicans. By then, I became insanely obsessed over widescreen. Because, in fact, a lot of great films were filmed in the format. Like Chris Columbus's Mrs. Doubtfire, Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones quadrilogy, uh, Don Bluth's Anastasia, 3 of the 4 Alien movies. Even the Taken movies were filmed that way, with Liam Neeson. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you, and I will kill you. I tell you, that was one fucking awesome line from the first film. When widescreen became available all over the world, like Germany, Japan, and Mexico, everybody went nuts over the format. Even South Korea got into the action. And The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, which is the South Korean take on the Italian classic, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, were filmed in a process called Technoscope, which is similar to CinemaScope, which is the 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio. But around 1953 or so, from 53 onward, many older movies were also filmed in the widescreen format. Like The Robe, How to Marry a Millionaire with Marilyn Monroe, Betty Grable, and Lauren Bacall. Even Walt Disney's Lady and the Tramp was filmed in that format. Then by 1954, Paramount and Universal have also done widescreen formats known as VistaVision, which actually predates Panavision. You know, the flat format, 1.85 to 1. In fact, many animated features these days actually use the format. Yes, even a lot of television shows these days are now using it. Like that retarded piece of shit with that gray haired with Mark Harmon as Agent Gibbs from that piece of shit that shall remain nameless. Yes, even some anime shows have been doing it now. Like Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is basically Dragon Ball Z but without filler. Okay, that should be it for the editorial video for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment. And as always, amigos, au revoir und auf Wiedersehen.